All right, welcome back for another CBSI Hot 10 show. Make sure you go over to comicbookinvest.com and check out the article where I may put a few extra little tidbits and footnotes that I don't mention here on the show tonight. Also, make sure you check out all the content we do have here on the channel. Make sure that you like, you subscribe, you hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. And I know you're probably not used to seeing me not wear my baseball hat or a t-shirt, but I came home from work and I want to get this done and out on time for you guys because I don't like missing my deadlines. So with that all said, if you want to see this week's list, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro and I will be right back.
Notable sales.
All right, our first book is a classic, a pre-code horror classic. This is Black Cat number 50. I know you guys recognize this cover because, again, it's famous. It is very well known, and it is pretty expensive these days. This book and cover by Lee Elias, this is a CGC 9.4 copy, a file copy, one of the highest graded in the census that sold for an all-time high, $55,200. $55K, and that's quite the jump up from the 3,000 thereabouts it sold. Granted, that was like in 2010, so I mean, it's 15 years ago, so hell of an increase for this grade and for this book, but still all-time classic pre-code horror, which those books just seem to be making new all-time highs almost every year. I don't know, who knows where the ceiling is, but we haven't hit it yet apparently. So 55K, congrats to Black Cat number 50. Now, with that said, I do have another interesting take for you on the notable sales, and I haven't done this angle before, but I'm actually going to give you a lot of books. Not a ton of books, but an actual lot of 3. So 3 books that came out and were sold together were all 3 variants for Wolverine number 310. You got the 1 in 50 Ed McGuinness cover, you got the color 1 in 100 Stephen Platt, and the black and white Stephen Platt there in the middle. I'm sorry, that's a 1 in 200, the black and white. So you got the 1 in 50, the 1 in 100, and the 1 in 200, all raw, all sold together. Now, the seller was asking $4,000 for this group of books. That's right, $4,000. An accepted offer was passed, and they sold for $3,000 raw, which, again, is still pretty darn impressive when you look at this group of books. Granted, the 1 in 50 is a couple $100. Like, you could probably find one of those raw for $250 to $300, and then we start talking about bigger money as we get to the 1 in 100 and the 1 in 200, which are pretty neck and neck, despite the fact that one's a 1 in 100 and one's a 1 in 200. It's just people prefer the color, I think, so that one also gets a pretty big premium to the point where high grade CGC ones sell for like $3,000 by themselves. Like, I've seen high grade sell $2,000 to $3,000 for both of those books. So $3K. Is that a deal for all 3? I don't know. All I know is it's a big number and something to be paying attention to. Now, that all said, before we get to the list, let's just make sure that those of you out there who might be shopping for your, storage collectibles, you need your bags, your boards, your long boxes, your short boxes, top loaders, CGC boxes, whatever you need to keep your collection and your, collectibles safe. You got to spend money. You might as well save money while you do it. Use my code RENA10 and the link provided down below to go over to BCW and save 10% off your entire order. It's RENA10, save 10% off, because why not save money while you got to buy that stuff that you may not want to have to buy, but you do, because you got to keep your stuff safe. So with that all said, let's just get right into the list here, all right?
Number 10.
So at number 10, starting off our list, we have Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man number 9. We have seen this book before. It's been a while, but we've seen it before. This is the first appearance in comics, I should say, of White Tiger. There was a magazine first. You can go chase that as well, but we're just talking comics. In comics, this is largely accepted as the first appearance of White Tiger. So, George Perez cover, pretty awesome. Not a ton of volume, but since that Daredevil trailer showed us another picture of the White Tiger, we're starting to see copies move, because there was like only a couple sold last week. And now, a little over a dozen already, and it's already averaging over $20 again. So, seeing a little bit of movement, early indicators. I mean, the trailer's only a day or two old at this point, so that's what's driving the sales, because like I said, this book was not selling last week. We saw another image of him in the trailer. It's starting to move. And that's going to be a theme we might see going on for a little bit here at the bottom of the list. So, with that said, that's our first book at number 10. Let's see what we got next at 9.
Number 9.
Well, unrelated to the trailer, we do have rumors, and a lot of rumors are circulating that Marvel's secretly planning a Hulk solo movie, and that Hulk solo movie is supposedly going to frame around World War Hulk. How are they going to do this? I'm not sure. We already touched upon a lot of aspects of Planet Hulk during Ragnarok, so I don't know how we backtrack and retell those stories and have it make sense. Maybe they're just going to use the title World War Hulk and it has nothing to do with the actual storyline. Kind of like Daredevil Born Again really isn't following that Frank Miller Born Again story completely. It's more following a newer storyline from what we can tell. Maybe they're just mixing and matching. Who knows at this point? Who knows if this happens or it doesn't happen? Point being, right now, World War Hulk 1, the David Finch cover, that cover A, started to sell based off of this rumor. So with basically, I don't know, maybe a half dozen sales last week, we're already looking at over 30 so far. It's averaging $10 once again, where this was just dollar bin fodder not that long ago. Sets of the entire 5-issue series are started off at $30 earlier in the week, now going for about 50 to 60 for the entire set. So there is some excitement over this idea, whether it happens or not. Granted, CGC 9/8 are still under $100, but maybe not for long. Again, plenty of copies of this book out there. This book has been here before because we've had rumors before. Who knows if anything comes of these new rumors or not? We've still got a lot of Marvel on the way. We just don't know for sure what's coming, when, where, and how at this point. We're seeing a lot of shifting going on. We'll see if this shifts into one of those slots anytime soon. But with that said, let's keep it rolling and see what we got next.
Number 8.
Going back to that Daredevil trailer, we did see more of Muse, and we can confirm Muse is in it. Muse also looks pretty comic accurate from what we've seen in the trailer. So at number 8, we've seen more copies of this book sell. Pretty cool Ron Garney cover here. We had a couple dozen sales so far this week. It's still averaging. I mean, this has been pricey for a while. It's been about $40 to $50 for a while, but right now it's averaging 60 and actually hit a high of 90 raw for just this cover. Sometimes it sells in sets with 14, which is the first cover appearance of Muse. But that all said, a 9/8 of this number 11 did sell for $170 this week. So something more to keep an eye on, but it's here at the bottom of the list because volumes picked up, because like a couple of those other books we already talked about, there was only like 4 sales last week. And now we got a couple dozen just over the last couple of days based off of the trailer, new trailer starting to drive sales again. So I don't know. The market's kind of shifting a little bit. Like, didn't used to happen. We used to have like one shot at the apple. Now, each time we get a trailer, renewed interest keeps popping up, and then books start moving. Who knows? Who knows how this thing is going to go going forward? But with that said, we still got plenty more to get to, so let's keep it rolling and get to lucky number 7.
Number 7.
Still, piggybacking off that Daredevil news, a lot of folks are saying we saw the Rose and his gang in that trailer. Nothing's been confirmed yet. I get it. Colorful hoods. Looks like it could be the Rose. Richard Fisk playing the Rose, who first appeared as the Rose in this issue of Amazing Spider-Man, issue 253, but nothing's confirmed. So maybe we got to slow up a little bit because I'm not sure if this works or plays out. I mean, if they follow the comic storyline, Richard Fisk is the son of Wilson and Vanessa, who only just met each other in the Netflix series, which may have been a couple of years ago, but it wasn't a couple decades ago, because that kid who they're showing, Gandolfini's son, is got to be in his 20s. So how could he have been their son? Maybe he's not their son and they're going to go in a completely different direction. I don't know. But the point is, none of us know yet for certain. A lot of rumors, a lot of speculation. That said, a couple dozen on this one sold as well, getting those averages up to about $10, hitting a high of $28 for those higher grades of this old school ASM book. 9/8 sold for $125 this week. I would just be careful and not overinvest, I guess, in the Rose, because to me, it doesn't make sense that it's the Rose. It makes more sense for it to be Butch, his illegitimate son, which you could pass off and put in the story anywhere. I'm just saying. But with that said, let's not belabor the point. This is selling. Rumor, speculation, whatever the reason, it's selling, and that's why it's here at number 7. But with that said, let's keep it going and see what we got next.
Number 6.
It's been a while. a long while, I feel, since we've had a Star Wars book on this list, but here it is. Star Wars Adventure number 16. We've got 3 different versions of this. We got an A cover, this is the B cover that actually has Embo on the front, and there is a 1 in 10 variant as well. I mentioned Embo because that's why this book is selling. People are speculating that Embo may be involved in the Mando and Grogu movie. Maybe he's the villain, the bounty hunter hunting. Who knows? But rumors have Embo and his super large hat as being in this feature film. So I think it would be cool. Not bad not a bad choice if they decide to do it. I've always liked Embo, but that's what's driving the sales this week on this one, that rumor that's playing out there. Like I said, both covers are selling pretty well. Just a couple dozen sold, but there's literally, I don't think, any sold last week. So it's all based off of these rumors. Averages of 15 to 20 bucks. This cover here, the cover B that features Embo, seems to go for a tiny bit more than the cover A. And then those 1 in 20, 1 in 10s are mixed in there as well. But a 9.8 even sold for 150 bucks. Just something to keep an eye out for. And it's a book we've seen hit this list before. So it's just one of those things where it comes back around. Spec cycle seems to always come back around. And with that said, we're through the bottom half of the list. So let's take a second and then jump on over to that top half.
Number 5.
And starting off on our top half of the list, we do have a repeat. Yes. Mark Spears' Monsters number 1 is back on the list. And before you start going, why is this still here? Is it because you had Mark on the channel early in the week? No, that has nothing to do with it. It's because this book just keeps selling and it keeps going for even higher and higher prices. I mentioned it either last week or the week before. In December, this was like $110 for this cover A. And then it started to creep. It's now averaging $260. There's about 10 sales this past week. It's averaging over $260 raw. We saw that 9.8 sell last week for $500. No 9.8 sold this week, but raw, $260 plus. A lot of them ending at auction. Auctions with multiple bids and 29 bids here, 20 plus bids there for $275, $290. And that $350 high is still from right there at the end of last week, the kind of turnover date, I think on the 10th. But still, big numbers for this book, and it just seems to keep going up as far as an average goes, which is why it's here on the list again. So you can argue with me all you want, but you can go check the data for yourself and see these sales as this book just keeps going higher and higher. Again, it's long past where I thought the ceiling was, so who knows how much higher it could go. But Monsters number 1 is still back here at number 5. So with that, let's keep it going and see what we got next.
Number 4.
So coming in at number 4, we have a comic appearing on the list, not based off of movie news, trailer news, or television, but actual comic news. And that is that the character Christophe Bernard, who first appears in this issue of Fantastic Four, number 247, is going to play a pretty large role forming their own Avengers squad, apparently, in this upcoming Doom event. We know Doom is all about the upcoming Marvel movie universe as well as the comic universe for the foreseeable future. So get ready. Lots of Doom coming our way. And I can see a lot of excitement of people jumping at any bit of news or any bit of new information that they can to get at this. So Christophe Bernard, character I'm pretty sure not many of us knew about or remembered before this week, selling books to the tune of over 30 plus sales, hitting $12 on average, high of 30, 9/8's even hitting $180. That's a big number to me, 180, considering high grade, $30. So, that's a good increase if you can get a nice copy and get it graded. Just saying. Who knows how long that will last, but for right now, a lot of folks are picking up this book, this Fantastic Four 247. So we'll see where it goes from here. But with that, we still got the top 3 left to cover. So let's just get right to it.
Number 3.
So number 3 is back on the list again. This is Fantastic Four number 280. Yes, still, because of Sue Storm's Malice outfit that's available as a skin in Marvel Rivals, this book continued to sell. I told you when this popped up on the list after only like a day or so of info that we might see this again, because we'll see how volumes go over the week following that. And since last week, this just continued to sell, along with 281. But 280 still seems to be standing out in front. But this book, 100 plus sales. 100 plus sales for this classic FF book, averaging $17, which is pretty close to last week's highs, with CGC 9.8 selling for $160. I've seen a lot of sets of 281 and 280 sell together for like $25 and $30. So those are happening as well. So keep an eye out for both, as she appears as Malice on 281 on the cover. So that's why folks like that book. But she appears inside in that, like I said, that costume here in issue 280. So Marvel Rivals still selling books. Now, with that said, we still got 2 left. Let's see if you can guess what they are.
Number 2.
Number 2, a character we haven't heard from in what seems like years, Kanto. But I do not believe this book is on this list because of the character of Kanto, but more so for the artist known as Flops. You guys follow my IG, you know I get a lot of Flops covers. I'm a big fan of Flops. I love his retro style, the throwback look to it all. I love it. I love this. This looks like almost like a card back or even like a cereal box when you, depending on how you, different angles that you look at this thing. But this Flops cover, it's just selling like, it's selling for ridiculous amounts already. I don't know what to tell you. A lot of his art that he's done before now has been more Kickstarters and exclusive types, some self-published stuff. So not a lot of major publisher stuff. But this Dark Horse book, this is one of his books to keep an eye on, and a lot of people were excited by it. Granted, not a ton of volume. We'll keep it at that. About a dozen sold since Wednesday, but it's already averaging $28. So it quickly went from cover to like 10, 15, averaging 28 because we're hitting a lot of $30, $40, and $45 sales. Yes, this book just came out to the point where the copies that are out there now are asking for $50 and $60. So if those sell, the number goes even higher from here. And there are not a lot available. I only saw maybe 3 listings when I last looked. Granted, that doesn't mean these aren't out there on the shelves at your shop. I'm just saying the early indicators are that a lot of people are willing to pay quite a bit of money extra for this Flops cover because they didn't plan ahead and order some ahead of time. Just saying. But I dig it. I'm a fan. And I'm surprised to see it sell for as high as it is, but I'm not surprised that it is sought after. So with that said, let's see what we got left here at number 1.
And our number 1.
And our number 1 book this week is yet another Marvel Rivals variant. This week's only entry into that variant set is Storm. So Storm number 4 has a Marvel Rivals variant after last week's rush at the top with all 3 books selling. And those 3 books are still selling well. Are we that surprised that this book is here? Probably not. There's still 1 more to go. We'll see what happens with that one. I believe it's next week. Galactica and Jeff the Landshark. So I expect some fireworks on that one as well. But with this one, why it's here, we've already got 40 plus sales in the last 2 days. Again, this only just came out on Wednesday. This is, again, the NetEase design cover for the Rogue character or the Rogue skin, the Rogue look in Marvel Rivals. Already averaging $20, hitting highs of $45. Sets of all 4 books out so far, selling for $100, $120. So these Marvel Rivals books aren't slowing down much. I thought about putting the other covers back on the list again, but I felt like that would have covered a lot of slots on the 10, considering we would have had 4 Marvel Rivals books here. So I decided, you know what? Even though volumes are still pretty high on all other 3, prices are pretty close to where they were last week, as far as like the averages are kind of near the highs. Like these are all kind of $25, $30 books right now. I felt we'll just let Storm do the representation for the Marvel Rivals this week. So with that said, these things are selling, and we got 1 left. Try to get to your shop early, because I would expect to probably see more people chasing these higher prices on the aftermarket once that one hits as well. But with that said, that's the list for this week. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know what books you have, what books you don't have, and stick around for the qualified coming up next, as the boys are going to be talking about active Kickstarters. I mentioned Flops, and I mentioned how many Kickstarter books that I've got with his art. So the boys might cover some of the stuff that he's done before, or maybe he's got something new out. I don't know. But, stick around and find out what they're going to be talking about with those Kickstarters, with the qualified starting up right after I'm done here. And with that all said, I'll see you all later with some more content. All right.